All right, Tana, let's tell them about our game day BOGO deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's your line. I'll read it, I guess. Paisanos is bringing it big time every Sunday. Go ahead, Tana. Tana, that's your... You can buy any large pizza and get a second pizza for free. Tell them, Tana. Use the online code BOGO Pizza on the app or online. And then what can they do with the second pizza, Tana? Second pizza's free with equal or lesser value. I'm going to eat. I don't care. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. I spilled all over myself. Coming up on the Santana Moss Show podcast, Tana went back to MIA, but he also helped the youths of America.
Say it isn't so. The Redskins haven't been consulting with my man Jay on these off-season pickups.
And Tana, you know, it's the most wonderful time of the year. March Madness, baby.
They had the nerve to ask me, what's my strategy on placing these March Madness bets? Ask Trav.
Just get the money. That's always the strategy. And like sands through the hourglass, so is our intern, Ethan Sands.
And the Santana Moss Show starts now.
It's a Santana Moss Show. Number 89, hustle all the time. Travis on the right, hot mic on the left. Every single week, it's a lyrical fact.
Now let it go. Santana Moss Show podcast. I'm holding up in one hand, Lil Beat Your Ass. In the other hand, my bracket. March Madness. I've done like 15 of these.
You ready?
Travis Thomas, Santana Moss. How you doing, Poppy?
What's going on, brethren?
Where you been, man? I've been hitting you up, trying to hang out.
Yeah.
You been out of town? What's up with you, man? I ain't seen you in many moons.
Well, last week I spent some time on Capitol Hill.
Okay.
Second year in a row on behalf of Adidas, trying to push this FIT Act. It's an act, it's a bill that would allow families to be able to take advantage of those pre-tax dollars. And a lot of these families, especially the low-income families, that don't have the money to put their kids in extracurricular activities after school, or either whether it's football, track, baseball, you name it, don't have the funds for it. And even high school these days is play to play.
Yeah.
So, if you make a team, a varsity sports team, you still have to, pay for the, the uniforms, the equipment, whether it's tennis shoes, you name it, bags, to hold the uniforms in. So what they're trying to do, a lot of different brands has been trying to push a bill on Capitol Hill each year. This comes around. Last year was very close. So we walk around to different, congressmen, congresswomen, offices and try to get them on board to approve this bill. And that's what I did last week on Wednesday, trying to push this bill. Because I believe in it because stats says that our kids not going to outlive us.
Right.
And it's crazy because we outliving our parents. And then now the generation, today is being taken advantage of by social media, the different video games that keep them inside nowadays. Kids need to be active, and one of the causes is because most of these low-income families don't have the income to allow their kids that
where
privilege.
They can participate in the sport.
So hopefully it passed this year. A lot of the congressmen that we spoke to, they was on board. They loved that I came out and was a part of it, and I told them that I just believe in it. I remember years ago. I did a seminar in New York. I was young, around my birthday weekend. I've always put on events for myself to, have a good time, but I also give back to the community. And I did we was trying to fight childhood obesity. And we went out to a school. We picked a school in the Bronx and say, for a week, we're going to give you after-school program where we're going to bring nutritionists in here, and they're going to teach you how to make proper snacks when you come home from school. You got to think. In some of these neighborhoods, some of these kids' parents are either not there or there and not providing some of the things for them to be able to be healthy or live healthy, active lives. So we taught them how to make their own healthy snacks, whether it was peanut butter and jelly, apples, cut up apples, oranges, you name it. Found different foods that they can use and partake in a healthy diet. And then after they passed that course, which they didn't really have to do anything to pass, just be there, we gave them a week with us. Gave them one day of that week with us. and we worked out with him on the Jets facility, all my guys and stuff. And, we just taught them how to, do some healthy exercises and stuff like that. So I've always been about, keeping kids active and healthy. Now I'm 40, been in the league for 4 or 5 years now, and I can't, fathom to see myself just sitting around, not doing nothing. I have to be active. I have to make sure that the stuff I'm putting in me, I'm getting it out of me. Because I just feel like I can't sit around here looking flabby and sick,
Nah, you can't do that. Well, that's one of the reasons, even though you're 40, you still look like the Tanner that we all know and love play for the Redskins. Only thing missing is them damn rows, man. I just don't see them rows no more. But you still looking good. And even your own kids, man, like they're all active.
Yeah.
And you make sure they're involved in sports and just up and moving.
And then one of the things, too, when you think about it, sports is it's one of the things that you learn so much about life through.
No doubt.
What I mean? Some of the things I've learned through football and track, perseverance, commitment, being dedicated, all that stuff. Being motivated to go out there and want to do better. I was just having this talk with my son, my 9-year-old, Savion, and I was back home this past weekend in Miami, and he has a little ache in his back. So it's preventing him from running. So I'm like, Savion, you're not injured, but you got to understand pain and being injured. I said, your dad had to go out there and play many games where I was in pain, and I had to find a way to get through it just to keep doing what I'm doing. My team depended on me. They was counting on me, and tell you the truth, I just didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to miss the action because I wanted to be a guy that you can always count on.
Right.
And I said, right now you're young, so you don't know the different meanings of whether you're hurting or you just hurt, And I say one of the things I've learned, though, being a kid once before, I had to deal with some of the same injuries or pains. And I remember at one time I was injured, had a knee problem that it just wouldn't allow me to be me. I was a jumper, and for some odd reason I was growing. And you had that little knot on your knee where that little knot got heavy, and I couldn't really run or jump off that leg. And the doctor said, you got to sit it down, you got to rest. I couldn't understand why. I was like, I didn't injure it. It just I woke up one morning and it was bothering me. So
it's a growth spurt, right?
Exactly, a growth spurt. So I was trying to teach him the differences of being hurt and injured. And, sometimes you have to just go through it and pay through that pain. But, he probably won't get the lesson now because he's young. But when he get older, he'll remember, like, man, you know what? I can still go. I'm just going to feel a little different. And I said that's going to make a difference in life because as men now, as a man, just providing for my family, doing different things I do, you go through things.
Yeah.
And, you take losses and, and investments. You name it. So many things that you go through. But through the upcomings of sports and different things I did, it taught me how to persevere. It taught me how to get back up when you get slapped on your behind. It taught me how to fight through some of those times when you just not want to do it because somebody else getting it, somebody else doing it. So, it's going to be a valuable lesson down the line that it'll tap in when it's time to tap in. But when they're so young right now, all you can do is just put it in their ear and hopefully it sticks,
It's not just young, man. You're motivational, Tanner, because I'm going to tell you right now, if it wasn't for this show, I'd be on my couch right now eating hot Cheetos, drinking beers, not doing a damn thing. But I'm in here today because of you, man. You motivate me to come out here and get this podcast popping. So you talk about being there for your team, right? Yeah. And being dependable and being in the game. Man, there was a report this week that came out. The Sports Junkies had it on 106.7 The Fan, basically saying that Redskins head coach Jay Gruden is being froze out of decisions. Basically, hey, we're bringing in this player, that player, you coach him up. He has no input at all on the decision-making. Do you believe that? Does it surprise you? Is that about right? What's your take on that?
Well, first of all, we looking for any Redskin news that's going to basically raise our eyebrows.
We're reaching, right?
Everybody's going to be reaching and sitting there waiting for something to come up and say, well, this is Jay Gruden's final year. This is why, But I just find it hard to believe. I really do find it hard to believe because I understand that through my tenure of being there, and even when I was a Jet, there's going to be coaches that come in that has different roles. One thing I learned about Shanahan, he wouldn't take the job unless he was hiring and firing. He wanted a bigger role.
He wanted more power.
He wanted to make sure that he decided who gets the money and who not. And I remember it was media getting at him and was like, well, Shanahan is paying himself $7 million this year, but the top players are making this much. And that's just how it goes sometimes. But I don't think that's Jay Gruden's role. I do believe that he's in those meetings. I do believe that they're talking about what's the need, because it's a lot of needs for this team. This team needs a lot. This team needs players, multiple players, and they need a lot of backup guys. They need some guys on the roster that at the end of the day, if they find themselves going on that line again, whether it's, the last 2 years it was 40-something plus guys on IR,
right?
You knock on wood, because you don't want to see that, especially from two potential, good teams that could have potentially had a chance to go to the playoffs. You don't want to see them go on that road again. So it's all about stacking your locker room up, or stacking that, that roster up enough to have enough, depth to be able to say, okay, I can depend on this backup here and this backup there. So they're going to need to find those guys. What's been going on now, whether Jay Gruden made that decision or not, he heard about it. Right. I'm sure he heard about it.
So they consulted with him. He just doesn't have the final say, essentially.
I think the big problem we would say it's not his final decision.
Right.
He doesn't have the call. He doesn't have any say so when it comes down to who's the guy that we're picking. We're going to talk about what we need, and then when those guys are available, we're going to let the guy who's the president, whether he's president/GM,
right,
whatever his role is, he has to go out there and call the shots on that. So I do believe that he's in on those meetings and he knows what's going on. He just don't have final say so.
Okay, well, how about the moves they have made? Do you like the Adrian Peterson signing? I've talked to you about Case Keenum already.
Yeah.
But do you like AP, and do you like Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, who basically came off of the couch, like I was saying, chilling, and decided he wanted to play for the Skins?
I was scratching my head about the Dominique, Rodgers pickup, because I'm like, when he retired and you got him out of retirement, I remember when I retired, why they didn't come get me out of retirement when they need some receivers? But
it's not too late, Tanner.
No, I'm done. No, but honestly, I think it was great. Especially just hearing about AP coming back.
Yeah.
Jay Gruden had to have some say-so on that. I mean, he's an offensive guy. He want to make sure that stable is loaded. Not sure what Geis is going to be out the gate.
Right.
You're not sure if you're going to be able to depend on him out the gate still. He's a young guy. I know he's going to be hungry, ready to prove his point just like he did last year. He could find himself injured again or just not being ready. So you have to have a veteran like AP that shows you that he still can go out there and get it done at this age. So I'm sure he was in on that pickup. And then having Dominique coming in, a veteran cornerback, a veteran DB. Last year we was depleted in that area. Once we had one of our guys who we believed that was going to be potentially one of our better guys in the future go down in Dunbar, and who was else up? Nothing but young guys. So having Dominique come in, he's a savvy veteran. He's a guy that I love his game because
he's physical, right?
Florida guy. He's different. He's one of those guys, and then you catch him. He catch you slipping. He going 6 with you. He's fast. He has great ball skills. And besides all that, he's a guy that knows the game. So
he's a bigger corner though, isn't he?
Tall corner.
He's tall. He's lanky.
He's not going to put hands on you all the time. He's not overly aggressive.
Okay.
But he's a great talent. He's a great guy to have in the room. He's a great guy to learn from. A lot of those guys can get a lot of knowledge off him because he's been around different teams and he's been on championship teams and he know how to play the game. So I have a lot of admiration for him because I watched him play even when he was a young buck. I like to see him out there going and do his thing, and we done had those matchups where we talking out there together, and he showed respect, I show respect, but he's a guy that he goes about his business well. So you want a guy like that to be on your team, whether he was ready to go last year or not. I think it's just being in Oakland, man, I'm ready to go ahead and call it quit. Before you hang me, I'm going to hang myself. So that's what he did. But other than that, it's great to see those pickups, and I'm still seeing that it's going to be more. It's going to be more moves made because it's still early in the year. Football is round the corner, but not that close. And there's a lot of guys going to be out there on the table available through the draft and free agency.
Dog, I'm still waiting on that Josh Rosen. I'm waiting on that notification on my phone because I know it's coming.
I'm pretty sure it's coming.
It's coming.
I'm pretty sure. And that's one of the things I talked to someone about. Someone hit me on the DM. He's a guy that has his own Redskin page, and what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I said, you got to understand something. Everything you hear, out there, just because you heard it, that don't mean it's going to happen.
For sure.
That Josh Rosen thing, it's been going on for how many months now?
Yeah.
That team still hasn't said they're getting rid of him yet. It's just been,
Well, it's been speculation, but we won't know until draft night.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, it sounds good, but until it's done, I don't have nothing to say about it. You know what I'm saying?
True.
I can't sit here and speak on something that's not done yet. He's still a part of Arizona Cardinals. You know what I mean? So until he's not a part of that, then I say, okay, we need to go out there and grab that young talent because I feel like if he's available, why not go get them? You know?
Now, look, we're football guys, but make no mistake. We love that basketball. Tana is one of my favorite times of the year now. March Madness is finally upon us. Now, the local scene has been represented beautifully in this tournament. University of Maryland, UVA, Old Dominion, Liberty, Virginia Tech, and VCU all in the tournament. You've been watching a lot of hoops the last month. I think because LeBron sucks. Excuse me. I think you've been watching a lot of college because LeBron sucks. Tana, from the hoops you've been watching the last month, who do you like? Who jumped out at you when you fill out your bracket? Who you kind of riding with? Because you've watched a lot.
Well, being that I'm not a guy that I only pay attention to when it gets crunch time. Crunch time is, regionals and all that stuff when it comes to division championship games and stuff like that. That's when I start raising my eyebrows and say, let me see what team is going to be that team. And when it comes March Madness time. Right. One of the things that caught my attention is just seeing how many teams from the D.C. area that's snuck up in there. 6 teams. 2 of those teams stand out the most to me. Virginia, for one, they was number 1 for a while this year. Last year they was picked to go and win it all, and this year they right back in the thick of things. They're one of the teams that I'm looking closely at, and another team is probably a team that I won't find myself looking at. It just so happened I turned the channel a couple of times, too many times, and found one of their games and like what I saw, Liberty.
Oh, yeah?
Let's say Liberty should be an upset game, this week, against Mississippi State. So I'm going to pay close attention to those guys, but also I'll be looking at Maryland. Maryland is a team that's right here in our backyard, and they always give you one of those, a good run for it. So hopefully to see those guys. But the one team and the all team that we've been hearing that's supposed to dominate it all is Duke, and I'm waiting to see. I just want to see at the end who's going to be those last 4 teams that's standing there, going after that trophy. So it's going to be very interesting, and this is probably going to be my first year out of all the years to really pay close attention to it.
Really?
I mean, I always,
you've always kept your eye
put
on
a bracket out there,
right? But now you're all in.
I'm all in. And half of the reason is because of you. You're a degenerate, and
I am.
You one of those guys that just can't. Help yourself, and sometimes I just call on you, say, hey, Trav, what's going on? You tell me.
Well, I'm going to get into that degenerate part. I just want to say, coming up later in the show, Ethan Sands, our intern, who's a diehard Duke fan, will be in studio, probably talking trash about his team. I can't be mad at him. Even though I hate Duke, I get it. If I was a Duke fan, I'd be talking trash too. But we'll also get some picks from him. About that degenerate thing you mentioned, Tan, I have an interesting stat here that says 1 in 5 American adults bet on the NCAA tourney. Well, that means someone who's watching this podcast is going to need this knowledge I'm about to bestow upon thee. I just want to say, Tana, that I've done research all season long. I have a sheet of integrity here of teams that I've watched all season.
Yeah,
you see it highlighted, that's a word, and stats next to it. And then I've taken that said list and broken them down into 2 cards filled with games that I think you could bet. And then even from there, Tana, I have highlighted, again a word, 3 games from each day. I just want to give a little advice on betting on March Madness before I get into my picks, okay? If you are betting every single game in this tournament, A, you should call a hotline and get help. B, you're not going to win any money, okay? These sports books and these casinos continue to expand and grow for a reason.
No doubt.
It's because of idiots like you betting every game. That's how they're getting their money. You will never beat the house that way. However, if you do your research and you listen to people who know what they're talking about, you can make some money with this, okay? You have to be selective. You also have to bet the same amount on each game. I ran into it when I was a rookie bettor several years ago where I'd put 50 on one game. I might put 20 on one game. Oh, I really like this game. I'll put a C note on this game. If you lose the 100-point or the $100 game and you lose the 50 but you win the 20, you're still screwed, right?
Yeah.
So I try to put the same amount, whatever your budget is, on each game. That way, if you go 3 for 3 or maybe you get 1 right or
Smart
whatever.
math.
Yeah, you make a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Or maybe a break even. So that's that. Here are the games I like. Tana, I broke them down into Thursday and Friday. This is just for the first round. I like Bradley to cover against Michigan State. That's an 18.5-point swing right there. I think Bradley can cover that number.
Well, who's going to win?
Now, look, my in-laws are Valpo alums, so I watched that conference a lot. I've seen Bradley play a few times. Michigan State's going to win that game, but it's going to be closer than 18.5. Bradley is a good team. They can shoot the ball. They're going to hang in there, okay? Northeastern, I like them to cover the +7 against Kansas. Kansas is off this year. That's a brand name. Your average sports bettor is going to say, oh, Kansas, bet them. It ain't the same Kansas, okay? Like Dorothy. We ain't in Kansas anymore. Northeastern's going to cover that. Again, another team I've watched because Towson plays in that conference. Towson sucks, I'll admit it. However, because I am an alum, I've watched Towson lose a lot. I've watched them lose to Northeastern. That's a good team. All right? My last game on Thursday, this is an upset. Seton Hall over Warford. +3 right now. Warford is favorite. So I like Seton Hall there. They're a tough Big East team. Big East teams are always fistfights.
You're sending me these, right?
Yeah, I am sending you these. Those are Thursday. Friday, same thing. 3 games. Again, the consistency there. 3 games on Thursday, 3 games on Friday. I'll bet the same amount each game. I like the under in the Northern Kentucky-Texas Tech game. Texas Tech's one of the best defensive teams in the country. Northern Kentucky is, well, Northern Kentucky. No disrespect, but you know who you are. That game's going to go under the 137.5. That game will go under that. It will be an ugly, stupid game to watch, but bet if you can make money on the under, take it. And then I got UCF to beat one of our locals.
Yeah, I got them too.
VCU. I like that game. They have a big 7-footer there who is just – he's a handful. I don't think VCU has any answers for him. Plus, VCU's banged up a little bit. And I like St. Louis, who comes into the tournament hot. A team
like them beating VTech?
They're not going to beat VTech. They're going to cover the 10.5. Yep.
Okay.
VTech will win the game. St. Louis will make it close. They're hot. They shouldn't even be there. Those teams always play well the first few days. I think they'll make it a game with VTech and then lose. So there you go. Boom. Huh? Make that money, baby.
Make it.
All right. You notice Tana took copious notes there. I like that.
What you putting on them, though?
Well, listen.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Everyone's bankroll is different, okay? So my advice is whatever you can handle, go ahead and do that. Let's just say this. If I go 6-0 in these games, you may not see me ever again. I could be on an island. Let's bring in Ethan Sands now, our intern, to break down not so much the betting aspect, but let's just go through the bracket. We'll give you our final 4 teams. And, of course, you know he's going to come in bragging about Duke. Oh, Tana, he got his Duke blue on. Look at what's going on already.
He got his Duke blue on.
I mean, of course. Go ahead and get all mic'd up there.
I shared with him a story that last time I wore a sweatsuit with all blue Duke. Yeah. I had a fight.
You should have had a fight.
Stepped on my blue Converse.
So, look, instead of taking L's, we'll bring in Ethan and we'll break down our Final Four. So, Ethan, I want to start here, okay? Why are you a Duke fan, brother? Why?
I mean, you know, the old roots. My father comes from Duke University as an undergrad, you know. Got to stick with the roots, stick with the fam.
Okay, fair enough. I really wanted to talk trash there, but I can't. What can I say to that?
What could you say?
This old man went there. What do you want from me? Well, listen, let me ask you this before we get into your Final Four. When you watch Duke play, I was just telling Tana off before we got on air. I said when I watch Duke now, it's almost out of character for them because for years they're always a great team. Coach K leading them. Not the most athletic of teams always, can always shoot the 3. You know they're well coached.
A good defense.
Now it's like the opposite. I watch Duke and I'm like, when Zion was out, they didn't look like a good team.
The LeBron factor.
They have a bunch of individuals. R.J. Barrett's amazing. Cam Reddish is amazing. But they don't seem like they mesh too well. Do you see that or you disagree?
I can definitely say that I can attest that that is true. But the fact is that once we have Zion there, the collectiveness and the team chemistry is just so surrounding.
Yes.
It's detrimental to any other team that thinks they have a chance.
It's all about energy, though, right?
It's all about the energy.
All the energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you, I just shared with you this past weekend, I watched 3 games, all their games. And the energy level even though I found that Carolina game was one of those games that any team could have won it.
Yes.
It was just the energy that he brought to the game. And you can see some of those other guys, they might not get highlighted and saying that they did this or did that. That point guard had a great game, and I like the way that Zion just takes over the middle. He's one of those guys. He's a force. If he's not stealing, blocking, and doing something, he's getting those rebounds offensively and defensively. And it's a no wonder why, when he was out, it felt like they lost half of the team, because he brings, a spark to every part of the game, offense and defensive part. And then he's a guy that's running. When they get that fast break, you automatically know it's an alley coming somewhere. Yeah. So whether he's catching or Barrett, one of those guys doing it. So the energy alone it brings an excitement that they don't have when he's not there.
There are big guys in the game that don't really play big. They might live out at the 3-point, line or whatever.
And then he's finding his shot now.
He's finding his shot. He's got a really good mid-range shot. Yeah. The three still needs some work, although he can knock it down.
Yeah. I actually think his three-point shot is more consistent than his mid-range.
You think so?
I think so, because most of the time when he shoots from three, it's very limited.
Right.
It's
a higher percentage.
Right. He'll either go 2 for 3 in a game, 1 for 1 in a game. But I don't think he missed more than 5.
This is my last question about Duke, because I already want to jump out of the window talking about them so much. Were you surprised that he came back from the injury? Did you think he'd shut it down and just concentrate on the NBA?
No, we knew. We talked about this off the record, but this kid loves the game of basketball, and he loves Duke. Like, you can just see the chemistry that he has just strictly with R.J. Barrett. Put along that with Trey Jones and all the other people we came in with, it's a different family kind of aspect. Coach K even mentioned that this is a different team chemistry than he's seen with any other team he's coached.
It was almost set up saying that they should win it. You know what I mean? One of those things about it, like, and I look at this bracket going into it, and it's always saying it's always good to say that the favorite is not going to win. That's what the favorite never wins.
Easy to do that.
But I think this is one of the times when you say, you know what, I might have to bet with the favorite. I might have to bet with those guys, because
thank you, Tanner.
No, I do. I do, because one, I'm not big on rather who I care less, but Zion raised the eyebrow. He's a guy that he's a difference maker, and he shows you that the games that they struggle with, when he's back, they won. The games that they lost, North Carolina twice, when he's back, they won. So he shows you that in the games that means the most, that matters the most, he's going to be the guy that makes a difference. And even though they lost 5 games this year, you have to lose. You can't just win them all. I just feel that he's a guy that he's been waiting for this opportunity, because with all that, those naysayers out there telling him that he shouldn't, or he could wait it out, he's like, no, I love this game too much. I love these guys too much. I appreciate this coach who being the father figure to me, away from home, giving me this opportunity. I want to go out here and play for a championship, and he has the greatest opportunity right now to go out there and do so.
Brother, I respectfully disagree. I would have shut it down and said, y'all got enough tape on me. That's cool. I'm going to go rest, get ready, and go get this money. But get your Final Four ready. Either I want you to lay it out for us. Give me your Final Four. I have a feeling Duke's going to be all up in it. Tell me who you got, in your Final Four, and who you have them beating in the Elite Eight to get there on each one.
Okay, so I'm actually going to give you even a little bit more. I'm going to tell you who the player that they're going to need to watch for the play.
Look at you.
I had to give it to you. So we have, right now, I have Duke in the East, and they're going to actually, I want them to take on Maryland. I'm going to throw that out there.
That Capital One Arena.
I
want to be there.
Give me the chance to go see Zion Williamson ball out. We're
going to get the suite, and you're going to be in that thing with us. Let's do it.
In DC.
I'm there with y'all.
And then you can shut all the Terps fans up, right?
I'll be rocking my blue. I'll go home, get my Duke hat, all of that.
I see what you're doing there, Ethan.
So then I have the Zags going to the Final Four, but I have them beating Michigan.
Wow, that'd be a great game.
I think that would be a really good game, because they have Jordan over there. And I think the player to watch for that game is Hachimura.
Oh, I like him.
Yep.
Yeah. Heard the name a couple times this year.
He's good. He's their best player.
He helped them beat Duke in the beginning.
Yeah.
Tennessee in the South.
Okay.
Grant Williams, player of the year over there.
Okay.
I have them beating, I believe, it's Virginia.
Okay.
Yes, I have Virginia losing to them.
Yeah.
And in the Midwest, I have Kentucky taking the crown against North Carolina.
Wow, bro.
Yep.
Okay.
Kentucky beat them earlier this season, and Kentucky was actually more rough back then, because they had just taken the L.
Yeah.
like you guys always use.
For sure.
Taking an L to Duke and to Duke against Kentucky. Yeah.
Okay, so in the championship game, you have Duke versus who?
I think I'm gonna give Kentucky and Duke in the final two.
Bro, if you're right, those ratings would be
through the roof.
Insane. I mean, those are the two most blue blood programs really in the country. I'm with you on one side of your bracket. I actually have Tennessee beating UVA as well. So I have Tennessee in the Final Four. I have UNC in the Final Four. I actually have them beating Seton Hall to get there. I love the Seton Hall team. Okay. I've won a lot of money betting them this year. They're one of those teams, Ethan, they're in fist fights. It's not pretty games, right? They don't outscore you. They're not great as a fast break, but you look up and it's a low-scoring, just bloody type game. I like Texas Tech, and I like Michigan State to beat Duke in the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four, and here's why. It goes back to what I said. I just don't think they are a great Duke team. I think a great coach like an Izzo can say, you know what, we're going to figure it out. We're going to take this Thanos dude out of the game. We're going to take Zion out of the game and figure out a way to beat this team. I think it will take a team like that to do it. Michigan State, Texas Tech, Tennessee, UNC. I have UNC versus Michigan State in the title. I have UNC winning it all.
No.
I know that's got to hurt you, Ethan.
Not the light blue.
Tana, who you got?
So, as you see my bracket, I was making it, and it's crazy because me and Ethan, we share a lot of those picks. One side of my bracket is just clear. Just two teams, I can tell you. I pick favorites most of the time, but the other side is crazy because he spoke about some of the teams that I've, that raised my eyebrow that I think highly of.
Yep.
And so one side I have Duke and I have Gonzaga, making it. So I just think those teams they've been dominant. They've been the most dominant teams on that side, and I feel like at the end of the day, this is the moneymaker right here. You got to bring it home. You got to at least get close to it to even have an opportunity. The other side, I wasn't sure. The reason why I wasn't sure because I like Tennessee and I like Virginia. Mm-hmm. Virginia has been in that situation where the last 2 years they've been the favorites. Hey, you can win it all. You can win it all. Do I see Virginia losing to Tennessee? He just said he think Tennessee could bring them down. I got to give Virginia the nod. So really? I would give them the nod. I would give them the nod.
So far, Tana has all 1 seeds.
I would give them the nod. Yeah, I would give them the nod.
There's 3 1 seeds.
And, because I'm picking favorites. I want to give them the nod. I want them to be the guy. And then on the other half, I got Auburn or Kentucky.
Wow, SEC.
Yeah, so I'm saying to myself, Auburn has surprised a lot of us this year. They've been playing some good.
They're well coached.
Well coached. They have some big men down there that can do it big, step up big in those critical games when you have to get a little physical.
Feel a butt coming. I knew it. I knew it. You're going Kentucky.
Kentucky. It seems to me when Kentucky's favorite, they lose it. But when they're not talked about, that's when they surprise. They don't have a bunch of guys that's going to wow you this year.
Right.
Probably have most of the guys coming back than they have in the past.
For sure.
And I think they can easily sneak up in there and beat the team this year. So
he likes them too.
If I had to pick 4, I already picked 2 on one side. Yep. I said Duke and those guys.
Go UVA and Kentucky.
And I just say UVA and Kentucky.
Okay, so now are you with Ethan? Do you have Duke and Kentucky in the title game? That's what he had.
Yeah. I think to me that would be the best game to watch. You know how when you get to football and you say now they have this playoff and what 2 teams you want to see standing?
That's the 2.
Those are 2 teams I would like to see standing.
Gotta be the Blue Bloods.
Yeah. Okay, so if you agree with them there, do you agree with the winner that Duke is cutting down the nets, or you think Coach Cal and the Wildcats do it?
Beyond what you just talked about when it comes to the basketball team, winning. A lot of these teams that we spoke of today, they have great team chemistry. I think Duke team thrives off of Zion presence.
Yes, and
I do believe that with his presence and with the momentum that they bringing into this whole March Madness, knowing what he's playing for, knowing what he's coming back for, can't see a better team cutting it down than him. And him being the last guy sitting up there saying, "Hey, this is it. This is it, man. I'm going to go ahead and take my talents to the NBA, but I had to go out with a bang, and we gave it to Coach K the way we supposed to."
Yes, sir. Hey, but I'm
with you, baby.
Hey, I love it. I'm going to actually switch from Zion. I don't think he's the guy we have to watch this March Madness. For Duke, at least.
Who is it?
Cam Reddish.
He's clutch.
Yeah, he's clutch.
But he hasn't been playing as well as he should be.
Since Zion been back, too.
Right.
Yeah.
So with the added minutes and the minus of shots, you have to think, if he's not knocking them down, and you're coming up, like if you're coming up against Michigan State, who has McQuaid, who will knock it down from 3, and we don't have somebody who will knock it down. It took us about 20 minutes to get our first three made in our last game. Mm-hmm. If we don't have somebody who can hit it from perimeter like Cam, he is our pure shooter on that team. We will have a problem.
I just want to take a minute to say that I hope Ethan Sands and Santana Moss are incorrect with their predictions because, Duke, I
bet
hate
you do.
You all. Hate. I hate you, Duke.
We got the color difference going on, too. We got the dark blue.
You see that? I'm not even a Tar Heel. I went to Towson. What good am I? Ethan, great job, man. I appreciate you being on, brother. You did a nice job.
Thank you, my guy. Appreciate it.
Hey, Tanner, it's the most wonderful time.
Me, all right?
That's it.
All right,
He might be breaking us off something, Tanner, later on.
Let your boy Ethan.
Remember we had you on our show back in the day?
He's like, your boy.
Ethan's going to be like, security, get these guys out of here, please.
I'm sitting outside waiting.
Santana Moss Show, it's a wrap. Go fill out your brackets and get this money.
It's a Santana Moss Show. Number 89, hustle all the time. Travis on the right, hot mic on the left. Every single week, it's a lyrical fact.